Saturday, one thing necessary. This is Luke 10:38-42. Now, as they went on their way, he entered a certain village, where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, so she came to him and asked, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her." Martha usually comes off badly in the telling of this story. It is assumed to be teaching the importance of the higher contemplative calling compared with the busy activist world of daily life. And the story can read like that. Martha is rushing around while Mary is still and silent. Martha is stressed, Mary is calm. Martha is rebuked by Jesus, Mary is praised. But the story needs Martha. It only takes place because of her. It begins with her initiative to welcome Jesus into their house. This may have been Jesus' first meeting with a family to whom he grew very close, and their home was one where he spent a lot of time. Martha is not condemned for being busy. There's nothing wrong with being busy, and any life worth living will have its share of stresses. Jesus responds to Martha with concern, not judgment. He is more attentive to her than to Mary, in fact. There is tenderness in the repetition of her name. He recognizes that she is worried and distracted over many things. Distracted literally means pulled apart. Mary presents a sharp contrast to Martha. Though not to be viewed as an idealized model of contemplative life, she does have an enviable capacity for sitting still while others around her are winding themselves up. Which character do you most easily identify with? There are always responses that come naturally to us, while we struggle with others. But differences are not deficiencies. Mary's stillness was not meek or submissive. She chose her place there, as a disciple, at the feet of a rabbi, being taught. This was not a woman's place in that society, and would have scandalized others who were present. What made her determined to walk in and sit in front of Jesus, we do not know. She would have needed a defiant toughness to see it through. Jesus' support for her makes clear that there had been demands to remove her from the room. Her choice will not be taken away from her. Verse 42. Mary and Martha need each other, for all their tensions. It takes the faith of both characters to tell this story, and the relationship between them is one that we all have to work at. It is Martha who welcomes Jesus into a life that, like ours, is easily overwhelmed and distracted, losing sight of priorities. Mary models a subversive response. In the midst of endless tasks and urgent demands, she just sits down and will not be moved. And a choice that is often called thoughtless and selfish, Jesus calls the better part. There is an ancient method of practicing stillness in the midst of the distractions of life. It is a way of praying based on the simple, continuous repetition of a word or phrase, such as, "Come, Lord," "My rock," or simply, "Love." This is sometimes called an anchor word, because we drop it like an anchor below the surface of our storm-tossed lives. There in the depths, it anchors us onto the rock that is Christ. Our task is to repeat it quietly, perhaps on the rhythm of our breathing, until the surface of life begins to reflect the deeper security in which it is held. Just try it. It is not to be measured by how it feels, or whether it is working, or even whether it is making sense to us. For many in a world like ours, it is the one thing necessary. As this prayer takes a hold over time, it has a way of pulling in all the distracted strands of our lives until they begin to fulfill their one true purpose, to attend to the presence of Jesus. Today is a busy day for me. The usual demands are pressing. The first thing necessary is to go and stand at the door of my life and welcome Jesus into it. Now, one thing still remains. Defying all the protests that there is too much to do, I will sit down here in the presence of Jesus and refuse to budge. Prayer for today. Lord, help me to balance the relationship between being busy for you and sitting still with you. Amen.